Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to today's special session on integrated business solution paper organized by Board of Studies Academic. I hope all of you are doing well and are planning with dedication for your forthcoming examinations. Students, IBS is the most unique and dynamic papers at CA final level. Unlike traditional subject wise examinations, IBS requires you to think beyond individual subjects and develop an integrated thinking. It tests your ability to connect concepts from financial reporting, advanced financial management, auditing, taxation, law, as well as from strategic cost management area. The objective of this paper is not merely to test your technical knowledge but to assess how effectively you can apply that knowledge in real life situations. As future chartered accountants, you will be expected to advise management, solve complex problems, evaluate strategic alternatives, identify risk, ensure compliances, and create value for stakeholders. IBS is designed to develop exactly these professional competencies. Therefore, while approaching a case study, always remember that there is rarely a single subject solution. You need to think holistically, connect different subjects, different areas, identify interrelationships among issues, and provide practical business oriented recommendations. Today's session has been especially designed to help you understand this integrated approach and develop the mindset required to handle this IBS paper. Students, please note that this paper is nothing but it's game of mind. You have to handle this through your mind by applying the concepts. If you have good conceptual understanding, you can easily crack this exam. Therefore, for this examination, proper planning is necessary. Now, students, in today's session, we are going to discuss a case study based on pharmaceutical industry, one of the most dynamic, innovation driven, strategically important sector in the global economy. The pharmaceutical industry operates at intersection of healthcare, technology, regulation, intellectual property, finance, as well as global trade. As future chartered accountants, understanding such industries from this case study perspective is very, very important. And this is exactly what the IBS paper seeks to assess. Today's case study covers a wide range of issues and it covers patent protection as a source of competitive advantage, government grants, FEMA compliances, and compliances related to GST, relating to supply of drugs, and pricing strategy for launching a new antiviral drug. The case integrates important concepts from financial reporting, auditing, taxation, corporate laws, and strategic management area. Students, please note that self-paced modules set A and set B are very relevant. Please don't ignore both modules. You may find a significant portion of questions from here. Okay, you will encounter practical application of Ind AS 20. This is government grant. Ind AS 103, it's a business combination. Ind AS 110, it's a consolidated financial statement. Ind AS 38, it's intangible assets. SA 250, it's a consideration of laws and regulation in an audit of financial statements. Rule 28 of CGST Rule 2017, Section 234 of the Companies Act, Rule 25A of Companies Rules 2016, along with strategic concepts related to profit maximization as well as pricing strategy. Students, what makes this case particularly interesting is that it shows how business decision cannot be taken in isolation. A strategic decision may have wider impact: accounting implications, regulatory consequences, taxation impacts, auditing issues, and long-term impact on shareholder value. Therefore, successfully handling of an IBS case requires integrated thinking. I am repeating again and again, this paper is about integrated thinking. You have to think holistically. Okay, by end of this session, I hope you will appreciate that disruption is not merely a theoretical concept. It is about strategic, operational, regulatory, and financial reality that organizations must continuously navigate. The role of chartered accountant today extends far beyond compliances. It involves advising businesses, evaluating alternatives, managing risk, and most importantly, creating sustainable value. Today's case has been especially designed to promote higher order thinking skills by requiring you to analyze, evaluate, recommend practical solution in realistic business environment. Students, please note that analysis, evaluate, and recommend is high level work. It is in skill level 3. In IBS paper, you are expected to have questions from level 2 and level 3 from skill assessment grid. Okay, you may be aware that there are 3 level of skill assessment: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 is where you have to apply theoretical knowledge. Level 2 is where you have to calculate, analyze, and apply. Okay, and level 3 is where you have to analyze, evaluate, and recommend. But in IBS paper, level 1 is not applicable. Therefore, in this paper, you will get questions from the area level 2 and level 3, where you have to calculate, apply, analyze, evaluate, advise, and recommend. Students, I encourage you to think not only about the technical provisions involved, but also about wider business implications of each decision. The case study has already been uploaded on the knowledge portal. I encourage all of you to review it carefully so that you can derive maximum benefit from today's discussion. This session is intended to be highly interactive. You are welcome to ask questions either in Hindi or in English. You may raise your queries during the session or post them in your chat box. We have reserved last 15 minutes for an open question answer session during which you may ask or you may seek clarification on the case study, examination strategy, or your planning preparation techniques or any other IBS related issues. We are privileged to have with us CA Sumit Dadda sir, a prominent chartered accountant with specific experience in auditing, valuations, advisory service across diverse industries. His professional journey reflects a unique blend of technical excellence and strategic insight, making him exceptionally well suited to guide us through his experience. We sincerely thank sir for joining us, especially during the busy audit period, and for taking the time to share his knowledge and experience with the future members of the profession. With these words, let us begin today's session. I now invite CA Sumit sir to lead us through this engaging and provoking pharmaceutical industry case study. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Deepagupta sir, for the warm introduction and the firm setting the context in detail, for giving a good idea about what is IBS all about, and not only from a theoretical perspective, how does it will help you, the students in real life business, that will give an indication. So this today's topic is from about pharma industry. We'll discuss on pharma sector. Now, before we discuss on pharma sectors, let us get some few basics clear. Now, any thoughts when we talk of medicines? The first preferred choice will be what? You will take a branded medicine or a generic medicine. Given a choice, think what you think you will have be doing. Given a choice between a branded or a generic, what will you choose? Now, whatever your choice would be, both would be right. Can we say one of them would be wrong? So I'm sure you all will agree both choices will be right. Because ultimately, what is the job of a medicine? That is to, as long as it is curing the ailment, absolutely right, Smriti. So as long as it is curing my ailment, it does not matter if I take pharmaceutical with a branded medicine or even any local medicine without having any brand, as long as the salt is able to rectify me, that is fine. Now think yourself as a parent, father or mother. Now and you need to take this for your kid, and you are at the reception counter, medical counter, billing medical counter, and you have two choices. You see a normal generic medicine coming at 10 rupees, branded medicine coming at 40 rupees, and you are purchasing this for your kids. What will you choose? Or parents? Kids or parents? What will you choose? What do you think, Smriti? What will be your choice? You're not purchasing it for yourself. You're purchasing it for your any of the parents or kids. At first instance, branded one. And this is actually a study done, a research done by Harvard and Oxford on in it is done in US, UK, where when the person is buying for himself, and if you show him the difference between the cost of branded and cost of generic, 90% is going to the generic when he's buying for himself. But when the same person is buying medicine for his parents or for his child, he always prefer for brand. Any idea why is that so? Because we are always, the human mind is so human mind does not works into 2 plus 2 4. Human mind always works on a different concept. Now when it comes to myself, I will feel that okay, I will give all my logics to myself that okay, both are same medicines, we understand it is a marketing gimmick, let me take the generic because I know it is going to be right medicine. But when it comes to your family, your parents, your kids, you will think that let me give them the best. And that is what called as a perception value. The perceived value, if it is more than the price, I would be happy to pay that. Because it gives you as a satisfaction, it gives you as a satisfaction that I had did my best for my family. I have given them the best treatment. And I was speaking to one of the health surgeons, one of the health doctors, and he says, when someone gets into a heart issue and he's at the doctors and doctor says we need to do a bypass and we need to put certain stunts, I need to put certain medicine stunts. So they say we give them two options. Okay, you tell me as a patient, look, we need to put some stunts. Germany stunt coming from German company will cost you 4 lakh rupees. Same stunt coming from a China company is coming at 2.5 lakhs. He said me, you tell me what would be the answer from all the patient unanimously. You are giving him a clear difference of 1.5 lakh rupees clearly in his numbers. Clearly the doctor is saying. And doctor says, China भी लगाओ तो चलेगा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. And if you put German also, it is also fine. German is best. China will have no issues. He says all patients, all the relatives who are outside this hall of the person who is into ICU, they always say, put a German one. Because the moment you see you're paying high value, more value, you think you're getting the best thing done for the person whom you love. And that's what the psychology works in. That's what the pricing works in. And that's why we need to understand certain things, how it works. Now, before that, any idea what is the difference? Why the branded medicines are very high and generic medicines are low pricing? What could be the logic? Why do you think the branded medicines would be very high and the generic medicines are not so high generally? What could be the biggest cost factors which generic medicine has and do not have and branded medicine have? So the first and foremost is a branded medicine has a research and development cost. A generic medicine do not have a research and development cost. So just to give you an idea of what happens in a generic medicine, once the patent gets expired, so let's say I invented a vaccine of, let's say, COVID. I invented a COVID vaccine. Let's say Aadhar Poonawala group did that. So this COVID vaccine, once the patent terms gets over, once the patent gets terms over, anybody in the world can make those medicines. So after 20 years, when the patent gets over, when I'm making those medicines, then it will be generic medicine. But then I don't need to invest in research and development. And when I don't need to invest in research and development, my cost is, I don't need to recover higher cost. So I can always sell at a very nominal price. Second, in a generic medicines, I don't need to go for advertisement cost because there is no branding. But in a branded, there is a cost of brand. So these are certain few reasons why the generic medicines are looking very economically low cost, whereas branded medicines looks high. Now, because if I am doing any research development, I need to recover money. Any idea how much how much time it takes to make a medicine usable, suitable for a human being from a drug manufacturer? The first time when you are developing any medicine, any idea how much it takes generally? Any range you think? Any idea? Any vague idea? It takes it takes 10 to 15 years. It takes 10 to 15 years, takes approx 10 to 15 years to get a medicine approved. Now, any idea how much how much time a patent is granted? A patent is given for how much period? Any vague idea? A patent is given for how much period? How much years government can give patent? So let's say I invented a vaccine. How much time the government will give me patent? Approximately. How much time you think? Any random guess? So patent is given for 20 years. So 20 years is the life of patent. Now the biggest question, Smriti, to you is, this 20 years start from when? The day I apply for patent application or the day my medical medicines get formally approved by the board? From which period I get this? The day I apply to the patent authorities or from the day I get the medicine approved? No, we are not sharing anything. As of now, we are not sharing anything. This is just a question we are asking. As of now, we are not sharing anything. So, common sense is what you are saying, Smriti. That's a common sense. Ideally, it should be from the date it gets approved. That's a common sense. But what does the law says? What does the law says? The law says, the law says from the date, from the date, from the date of from the date of application. Now you see the irony. I applied today. It takes me 10 to 12 years to get my medicine approved. So how many years are left for me to capitalize? How many how many how many years left now for him to capitalize? It is 7 to 8 years. Now this is something is a huge challenge because it takes you to have 10 to 12 years to get the medicine approved. And once you get that medicine approved, then you will get only remaining 8 years to capitalize. Now, somebody can question that, okay, why don't I start applying at the age of 10 or 11 years when I'm getting near to approval of medicines? Then this will not work because somebody else will file a case. Somebody else will file a patent. In the meantime, you have done a lot of work but not filed a patent. That will be an issue. I'll first take you to one annual report of a generic company, and then we'll take on the case study. That idea, how much gross profit margin would be in a generic medicine companies? Gross profit generally, how much you think it would be? If I'm selling at 100 rupees, that's my price. How much you think would be my cross margin? Approximately. GP ratio would be what? Any random guess? The cost of manufacturing would be what? What range we think it could go into? Just give me a minute. Let me take you there. Let me share you now, and then you tell me how much you think it would be cost. Just a second. Just give me a minute. Let me take the chat out. Just give me. Okay. I hope you are able to see the PDF now, annual report. Yeah. So now, if you see, the revenue, so it is in millions. So I'll increase the font size also for you. So if you see, this is in millions. Okay. So we are making. So if you take it, 2,300. So it is 23,000 crores. If I take in, so this is in millions. So that is in lakhs. So if I take into crores, 23,000 crores. That's the revenue we are making for for its selling of generic medicines. Now see what is my cost. Very important to understand the cost, the gross profit margin. So approximately we are making 60 crores is the cost. 60 is coming as the cost for a 230. So you can make a rough math how much it comes around. So almost it is one fourth, almost a one fourth of your. So 25% is your cost of sales. 75% approx is the GP, and that's a kind of cost coming generic medicines, because here they have no. So if you see this, what they are having only cost of material consumption, employee benefits, finance costs, depreciation. They have no other marketing, branding, such kind of big expenses. So my approx PBT is coming 50. It is, if we take as 5,000 crore. So that is a very, very lucrative number when we look into the business angle. And now the biggest risk in these companies are patent issue. And the patent issue is the biggest risk, because what happens if I make any medicine for which any patent is alive somewhere, and that I come to know, it becomes a huge issue. So here there somebody has a patent and you put a case. So it was a Renbaxy case where Renbaxy takeover was happening. So this is one of the things we need to also understand when we do any takeover mergers. When I take it, I always need to ensure a legal due diligence is mandatory to ensure there will be no case pending anywhere in the world. Because in this case, in Renbaxy, it was an issue that it was hidden. It was not told to the buyer that there's a case pending against patent litigation. That would be there. So that way, so this kind of engagement, when you do, you need to understand how important the patent is, because the kind of claims will be issue, and therefore companies need to mention in the report, that there is a patent issue going on in the court. We are going to settle somewhere. This is not yet settled. So see, this was going in from 2008. Now you're able to see. In 2008, it started, and in West Virginia till 2024, it has not concluded. So these things take huge time, and these patents, everybody tries to protect him because this is the only way where he will make money. And if you don't allow him to use the patent period productively, it will be of no value. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, mandatory disclosure is required. Mandatory. Wherever you have any issues on patent, you need to mention. This is very, very important. After this, and similar to all, it is not only this. All companies will have show patents. So this is a very, very important element for them. Whatever litigation comes in a pharma, that's the biggest impact. So this is of Sun Pharma. I'll show you another annual report of one more company, Dr. Reddy's. Again, they are also mostly into you know, generic medicines. If you see their turnover also, they also are presenting in millions. Now you would see that generally as so normally you see balance sheets in millions or crores and lakhs generally. Generally, where do you think? I'm just asking generally, where do you think? Where do you see? When you read Indian balance sheets, generally you find them in millions or lakhs and crores. Generally. Generally, you will always find them in either lakhs or crores. Generally. You don't find them generally in millions generally. But you see the balance sheet of majority of the pharma companies, they all will be in millions. Any idea why so in millions? Any idea why so in millions? Why? Any idea why it is in millions? Any thought process? Because 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 this pharmas are generally this pharma are generally uh, this is generally you are generally having a uh, because generally these medicines are coming from abroad. So you have tie-up with global companies tie-up, and it is easy for them to understand and translate and make your numbers convert easily. Because if I have, so for them it is very easy to convert your millions into dollars. Just get the formula. But if I show them in lakhs or in crores, they don't understand your balance sheet easily, and that is the reason they don't have it. Now, if you see here also, if you see their sales, if it is like uh, if I say 2,184 crores, if I take in crores, see the costing, same set of costing, nothing different, almost same 25% costing and 75% gross margin. And if you see their profit, they're a little bit high again, but same range. So this is something in because of a generic company, their cost is always less. That is the reason why it works that way. Now let me take you to the presentation now and discuss the case. Just give me a minute. Just a second. Absolutely, it is hybrid investment because Many stakeholders are involved in this, and that's why they prefer someone to share the financials they can understand in the same language. So I remember, so I worked 10 years in Middle East. So when I was in India, so in India we used to very aware of lakhs and crores. When I moved to Middle East and when I start reading balance sheet in millions, for some time I was not able to comprehend the numbers very well, because it becomes a huge issue. It becomes a huge issue to understand the numbers, because these are changed numbers, so always difficult to get idea what the numbers means. So you always make assumption mistake at times. Okay. So this case study is for Suraj Pharma, who is a global leader in pharmaceutical business. They started this in 1960. The founder is Dr. Anand Srinivasan, and he's a visionary scientist, pioneer in affordable medicine. I can get this shared, Smriti. It may not be in the portal, but I can share this. That's not an issue. He made a small research lab in 1960. His initial focus was to be in generic alternatives, because expensive branded drugs are expensive and it should be generic alternatives. Challenges are, if I need to create something, it has a limited funding, and generic market is a very new market. And as we all agreed that initially when somebody wants to buy medicine or something which is a life-saving thing, they may not like to compromise just because of cost. The moment you tell them this is a high value, high price, looks to give a better results, anyone will undoubtedly say, okay, give me the best. Nobody will do ever bargaining. Have you ever seen anybody doing a bargaining with a doctor? Sir, itna fees le lo. Have you ever seen that? Anybody doing bargaining with the doctors? Nobody. Because we know, because it's a life-saving thing. You think, okay, your life is got saved, you are sufficient. Nobody will ever ask how much hours, number of hours you report, how much your experience. If your if your if your if your engagement is so, and the issue with the branded is at times some people who may not afford branded medicine, and if they insist that they need to take branded medicine, they need to go for debt ridden. So they will take loans and becomes family becomes an issue, or maybe due to expensive medicines, they may prolong the treatment. They may prolong the taking medicines, which can even damage more to them. Therefore, a generic medicine can come as an option. It can come as an option, and people can take quickly and avoid, people who can't afford medicines, because some part in India are still not able to afford medicines. Therefore, a lot of government gives free medicines to at least ensure that nobody gets health gets any life do not get impacted due to only medicine issue. So they started from local research lab to global pharma players. They mentioned they had breakthroughs in R&D and manufacturing. They built on innovation and resilience and social commitment, because the biggest part in research is, or pharma is, to keep trying for research. Your research may conclude, may not conclude, nobody knows, but you need to keep trying. They they try to scale up without taking additional fundings. Global footprints are, now they are targeting in 100 plus countries. And I'm sure you all would be aware, and if not aware, you should be proud of that. India is called as a country of pharmaceuticals globally. And why India is called country of pharmaceuticals? If I take entire trade of the world of pharmaceuticals, 20% of medicines are manufactured and exported from India across the globe. And we are talking of developed countries also. It's not that we only export to Africa, Ghana, or underdeveloped countries. We are talking from Africa to Australia to America to global countries in the world, which are highly developed countries. They generic medicines they take from India. They are serving a diverse global patient base. They have integrated supply chain and global distribution network. Now, any business, if you want to grow big, you need to ensure supply chain management is to be considered very, very important. I'm sure you all would be aware now why the supply chain understanding is very, very important for any business. Now, whatever happened with Iran and Israel, Israel, US, whatever issue happened, the with the blockage of Hormuz, Straits of Hormuz in India, you know what is the biggest impact came? One of the biggest impacts is into tiles industry. You ask anybody who's into Gujarat, will agree that 400 to 800 tiles units got shut down because we are not able to get the oil in India. And if you can't get the oil, they cannot function. So imagine if between 400 to 800 units got shut down and they have 20, 30,000 laborers working in them, people working in them, then entire livelihood, entire business gets impacted. So because this, I know we are creating, constructing our house. So our tile guy says, sir, it will take a month or so to get the desired tiles. I said, how much time it takes to get a tile? He says, sir, because the petrol is not coming, oil is not coming, the factories are shut. And then we realize how it is important to understand supply chain management. Because if as a promoter, as a management, you have not taken care of it, you know what is the biggest risk? What is the biggest risk? And because I have practically seen one case in a quote on this. Imagine you are manufacturing white label. You all understand white label? White label means where I will manufacturing something without any name, and you will give me money and say that okay, you put my label, and I will manufacturing for Lupins, manufacturing for Sun Pharma, but only your name will come. So if I have committed you, I will give you $1 million, 1 million medicines every month. That is my commitment. And you put a condition. In case you fail to give the supply, you will pay us 5% damage or some international extra cost, irrespective of any event. You know, where you put this kind of conditions. Then it becomes a huge issue because now my supply chain is issue. I'm not able to make the delivery, but the client will be hell bent on it. And I cannot say it is because Iran and Israel war. They say that is not your country issue. That is a global other issue. So if so, there are many things you need to always understand when you're doing a supply chain management. So they have a huge integrated supply chain management, and they ensure that they will able to manage. And the most important issue in pharma industry, the most important issue is the compliance, because here this is the industry where compliance is not taken just a tick box. It has to be taken very, very diligently and seriously, because whenever any buyer comes from US and whenever any regulatory authority comes from US, which is called FDA department, if they find any lacuna, even a small iota of dust, they will give you huge penalties, huge fines, and you cannot start your business or sell export in those countries till you get a clarity from them. So you need to be very, very clear on these kind of uh, compliances. Like for example, you cannot have take shoes inside. If you're taking shoes, it needs to be have a polythene inside. You need to wear a cap. You need to cover your headgear so that hairs does not fall in. So very, very sensitive these areas you need to work around. Their market position is they are the fourth largest pharmaceutical company globally, first in Indian domestic pharmaceutical market, leading presence in complex high value therapeutic areas, key contributor to India's global pharma exports. Now, just to give an idea what happens in India, how does medicines manufacture? So there is one, we call it, one manufacturing, you call it API, drug APIs. So in APIs, you make a basic ingredient. So it is done by biological process or by fermentation or by adding some chemicals. You make a raw material API process. Then this API, so API process could be a powder or could be a chemical, something you make it. Then this API process is integrated with formulation. They call it molecule formulation. This molecule formulation act like as a binder or as like a holder that combine API and formulation and make it as a medicine, that you make it as a usable medicine. So at times, some people work only on making API, some people work on making formulation, some people work on making both, depending on the kind of investment you have. Initially, you need to put a huge investment because of the compliances requirements, and it is all automated now. You don't have a manufacturing medicines manually. Majority is by machines directly. So, key contributor to India's global farm exports. Their strategic area focus areas are to work on complex pharmaceutical and formulation specialty generics. So certain medicines are very, very complex to create. Now, when I started understanding this business and reading this, then I thought, what could be so complex? You're just making a medicine, a pill or a syrup or something like that. It is so easy. Why people call some certain things a issue? There is one company, you just note the name if you ever want to research, like Unimark Remedies. There is one company called Unimark Remedies in India that is in Vapi, Mumbai and Vapi. Vapi is the plant is there. It is one of the only six companies in the world that can manufacture one medicine. Imagine in entire world, there are only six companies. Out of that, one is in India. And why it is so complicated? Because the kind of structure required to manufacturing this medicine and process, it is so complicated, and it is so this is a secret formula because it's a patented medicine, and the way they generate the medicine because of chemicals and fermentation and other process, nobody else can make it in the world. So this is very, very difficult machine and difficult infrastructure they needed. So these are very high complex special medicine you need to work out. Once the period gets over, then others can take it. R&D, they have done a lot of research and development for high value therapeutics. So research and development is mandatory. And just to give an idea, whenever any pharma company is being sold, they are getting sold only on the basis of not on the profit and loss they are making. They are getting sold on the basis of they see how much patent it has and how much life of the patent is remaining. I may have 100 patents, but if the life is remaining only 1 year or 2 years, that means I can make money only 1 or 2 years abnormally. After that, I need to go and reduce my price. Any idea why I should reduce my price after my patent gets over? So let's say I'm selling Dolo, or let's say I'm selling paracetamol, which everybody knows it, or sofromycin. If I'm selling, let's say at 10 rupees or 20 rupees a medicine, when my patent is there, when my patent period gets over, why do I need to reduce the price? Why can't I should not continue at the same price? Because because by then because by then other people will start other people will start coming in the market. When other because it will be when there is no patent, then it is unrestricted. Anybody can manufacture that, and because of this, you need to come down, and therefore you need to always work on the value. And sustainability becomes a very, very important issue in all. And healthcare has to be affordable. And they always partner with universities, academias to get their knowledge and talent. Because then only I can get people to get my growth. There is a legacy of leadership, and they had 60 years plus experience. And Mr. Srivasan's vision is to make medicine accessible to all and to have a global health, ethical, and research and patent. You should be always considered to patient centricity. The core strengths of the specialty drug is a specialty drugs always require advanced technology and expertise, and it has always high barriers to entry. So, pharma is a very very uh, difficult business to enter in because it's not depend on your money only. you need to get regulatory approvals, and getting a regulatory approvals take at least 7 to 8 years bare minimum. And also the complex manufacturing process. So as I mentioned, is not as easy making production. You need to have a complex, you need to have understanding of the business very well, and you need to have strong capabilities in formulation science and process innovation. So this formulation is very risky thing and very difficult, because one wrong quantity of chemicals entered into entire medicine goes for a waste. One wrong storage at certain temperature, your entire entire medicine, entire fermentation is spoiled. So it needs to be very critically understand the formulation science and innovation that needs to be taken care of. Regulatory compliance is mandatory. It is not only in India. Every country you go, you need to take it. So say, for example, India is the first one. You need to take license on food and drugs license. You take it from the government authorities. After you get license from India, you need to get a license from respective countries where you are exporting. But one of the good part is, if you have taken a US FDA approval, if generally you have taken that, then rest of the world will give you a credit for that. That okay, if US FDA is approved, then we will quickly approve it. So they can approve it very quickly. Therapeutic reach and market focus. So Indian market strength. Uh, they have a huge market strength in India. Their brand presence is there. Their leadership in chronic therapies areas. Their tailoring offering to meet India-specific health needs. So many of the times you need to change the medicines according to the respective continent's need. And I'll give an example. When Pizza Hut came to India, they said we will only serve what is served in Italy. We will only give margherita and basic pizza. Now, do you get dosa pizza, pizza makhni, paneer pizza? Why we get that? In Italy, you don't get these pizzas. But why they get in India? Because when you are serving to a respective geographical location, you need to ensure it is blended according to them. Say, for example, let's say, for example, if I give a medicine which is very sore, very hard to, the pill very difficult to take, you think even adults will take in India? Probably no. But if you go to Europe, UK, they are easily taking hard pills. But in India, then I need to dilute it. Then I need to make it little bit softer, sweeter. So doctors will also say, okay, take this medicine. It is sweeter, easy to digest. Then people start taking it. And that way it works in how you sell your product. He works mainly for psychiatry, antibacterial, neurology, and diabetes management, because these are the areas where it is mandatory needed. And once these are regular in demand, so say for example, if somebody gets a diabetes, generally lifelong he takes the medicines, though he can be always under control, cure, but people will always like to continue the medicines. So you like to work on those areas where regular requirements are there. They have 43 facilities across 6 continents. They ensure that wherever there is a supply, they ensure supply chain efficiency is there, warehouses are there, so that goods does not take much time to reach, because pharma is a thing where people cannot wait for long. So let's say if I order something on Amazon and Flipkart, if it gives me after 2 days, 3 days, I'm okay with that, because I would have ordered for a dresses or iPhone or anything I would have ordered. It is not urgent moment. I can get a wait for it. But if I need a medicine, can I wait for 3 days? No, my headache is today. No, my stomach is today. I need it now. So that's why the pharma apps have started coming, where they will give you same day. Similarly, when I'm selling abroad, I need to ensure my supply chain is already there, so it cannot wait for the long time. They do not compromise on quality standard, and nobody should do that. If you're into a business, once your quality gets questioned, you never command the price. Why Tatas are always able to command a price? Because they never compromise on quality. If you are able to deliver quality, people will come to you always. So they had robust quality control and assurance system. They ensured that all regulatory norms of FDA, Europe, WHO are all ensured in letter and spirit. Always ensure that there should be patient safety, product efficacy, and regulatory compliances are done thoroughly. From raw material to final product, they ensure everything remains under control. So, what are the salts? What material they should take it? Is it edible, non-edible? All things they take it and put in. They invest a lot in research and development because they understand that if you really want to get a cutting edge, I need to always work on research and development. And if I don't work on that, I will not be able to grow significantly. And new areas keep coming. Every time people will have something new, and you need to put this. Like, I'll give an example, research and development, just to make you understand. Uh, so, so let's say people who drink, those who drink generally liquor, those who drink alcohol. After you drink, and next day when you get up in the morning, what is the first thing you need? Any quick thoughts? Somebody who's a liquor. I know most of you would not be alcoholic and would not be taking liquors, but just to get an understanding, if you know a little bit in the industry, when somebody takes a liquor, alcohol, and the next day when they get up in the morning, they call it as a hangover overdose. You got hangover, so you need something to get you uh, straight and right? So Himalaya, they understood this and they realized that this hangover would be happening across the globe, or it is only in India. It will be across the globe. You can search on this. So they made a medicine that is in huge demand in South Korea, especially. And I'm giving example of Korea because one of my friend has went there, so he was mentioning this. So this is across the globe product, and in Korea, this is taken like a daily morning schedule. Everybody goes and takes it, and they worked on it. They realized and they made a research and development on that, and they realized by adding certain basics ingredients of honey, lemon, ginger, whatever, they made a Himalaya medicine for this hangovers, and every youth, every working population in Korea takes it as a daily routine medicine. Just like in India, elders used to always take Hajmola as a daily routine. They used to take this kind of this. So innovation and research and development is very, very important in this area. Whenever you can find something that can give relief to patient in any of the form, the world is going to pay you the price because ailment will be the same to all the place. Their global revenue is exceeding $80 million, and we have just seen the balance sheets. We have just seen the balance sheets of two Indian companies, Sun Pharma and others. They all are they all are doing exceptionally good, right? So if you see they all are doing exceptionally good, so this 80 million is nothing, just for example purpose. But in real life, people gets much more. So all are going to R&D because only then you can increase continuously. They have a top position in dermatology. And and how does a medicine functions? How does a medicine gets a reputation? If I start saying medicine is very good, or you see a TV advertisement, few doctors come and say this has 99.99% capability to hit bacteria in your mouth. So when a doctor endorses something, when any group of doctors endorses that, okay, this product is good, the validation becomes more stronger. Because validation by a fraternity whom we all respect and whom we understand that they are the people who know this topic much better, you will get a better understanding. And therefore, it comes into a validation. And this is a genuine validation. Doctors support them. Globally, their future outlook is to have a sustainable global growth. And because in future, if you really want to grow, you need to find ways and means how to keep your supply chain running, how to keep your future cash flows running, because you cannot sit on past laurels. If you achieve something great in the past, you cannot sit on there. You need to keep moving. And those companies who did not succeed just successful, and the ego comes in or the arrogance comes in that we are the best. If you have not invented or innovated yourself after that, you will not grow. So say for example, take example of Elon Musk. And again, I'm just giving an example. Success is a relative term, but just to understand. He made Tesla, a humanless car, right? Which is working in global parts, America, it's a lot. So did he stop after Tesla? No, he is now working on SpaceX. So you need to think for an organization where the revenue keeps on coming in a sustainable way. So in pharma value chain components, it starts with research. You start discovering promising molecules. So as I mentioned, first you start working on APIs. So you go and make APIs. You say, okay, I'm going to medicine that will that will cure cancer, heart attacks, or diabetes, or something like. You start doing that, and then it gets testing, preclinical and clinical. So preclinical, it goes into first animals. First, it's tried on animals. After that, it is tried on 50 to 100 top healthy humans. Once it is tried on 50 to 100, then it is taken for testing under 1 or 2 years that no side effect happens on those patients. Then we try on 1,000 patients, larger group, and after that we tried on a bigger, larger group. So it takes three validation testing clinical trials happens. So it takes 7 8 years only on trials itself to see that, because if any complication will happen, it may not happen immediately. It will take some time. It may take, let's say, for example, it may take 1 month, 6 months. It may reach. So that's why they take long time. And once we got it, then delivery process starts. How to manufacture, distribution, that process starts. Now the biggest challenge of this is most molecules fail testing because we are all doing research and trial and error. So something can work for one person, something cannot work for others. That's why you see at times we have allergy, we have reactions. And that is the reason why if you see most of the times when doctor prescribes medicine, he always asks the first question, are you allergic to something? Because it may happen that if I am allergic to something and the molecule works only on that, then I will not be able to get the treatment. It will make damage further. And because it is a huge capital intensive, and if any molecule fails, it leads to a huge cost. Do you think government is going to fund me for the lost molecule test? That okay, you tried very well, spend 5 years, staff, labor, everything, machinery, but still you do not succeed. But still, I like to reward you for your trial efforts. Answer would be no, right? World will always look into the results. Always look into the result. Imagine I try, I give study a lot, but if I do not clear exam, okay, nobody will say thank you that okay, you studied a lot. No, the world will only see the result. Even if I take n number of attempts, once I become CA, my results get validated. So these are very, so this is like our life, right? We put a lot of efforts, but but the stakeholder will only see the result, and that is only the world will see. Nobody will see your hard work. Nobody will say how much you studied, how much you put your genuine efforts. The only end thing is say, okay, tell me the result. And that's why the the biggest challenge in this kind of business is the the shareholder or the stakeholder should know that you are putting a lot of efforts, and you're putting in efforts. That efforts may succeed, may not succeed. This is the biggest challenge of this. Now they thought, let us try to have a direct participation in testing and delivery on the medicines. Always have a collaborative research with universities and academic partners, because brains come from where? Brains come from universities, students, professors. Because a professor who's studying or reading the same thing again and again would have much better knowledge than somebody reading only one time. So they try to have a pool of intellectuals who can work as a theoretical, and they want to invest in clinical excellence. And that's why you see many organizations make center of excellence, just like IC also makes center of excellence, so that you can invest in making people better, organizing courses so people understand things more granularly. Similarly, a lot of pharma companies are making center of excellence so that they can put a lot of efforts there and they understand that this is only. Now we'll just take a short break now for 10 minutes and we resume at 8 o'clock. Then we'll take on from patent onwards. Okay. We are taking a short break till 8 p.m. for 10 minutes. Can you do that? Okay. So as we discussed, now the patent is granted for 20 years. The patent is granted from the day of filing application. So in filing application on 2026, I will get a patent right till 2046. But this, so though it looks like 20 years, I am getting a window period, but in real life it is not 20 years. In real life it is 8 to 10 years, because I will get my medicine approved in next 10 to 12 years. So in 2026, I'm trying and I get approval in 2036. If I tried the best pushes and I tried everything goes clear in one shot, then in 2036, I will get a medicine approved. Then it will be only 10 years remaining for me to capitalize this. Because in a patent period, nobody can produce that kind of molecule, that kind of medicines, because I have a patent protection, and this is the place where I can capitalize more money. And in post 20 post 2036 to 46, 10 years, whatever I can charge, I can charge. After that, I will not be in a position to capitalize much. So therefore people always try to ensure the maximum pricing they can do in a patent period, because after patent they have to anyways come down. So patent period could be a good opportunity. So they know that they got access exclusive market to access original manufacturers. And during this period, they can recover their all research and development cost. The moment patent gets over, moment they know that patents get over, generic manufacturers will enter the market, and then Suraj Pharma's strength lies in affordable generics. But whatever they have done an investment, that will also go to any generic manufacturer, and there then nobody can stop. The generic manufacturer just need to prove that they have the capability to produce medicine in a controlled environment, which cannot harm the user. Because of because of generics pricing, the issue is generic has no R&D investment, so they can always sell at a lower price because my production cost is very low. We would have recently seen the balance sheets of Sun Pharma and Dr. Reddy. Have anywhere you seen a gross margin of 75% in production? Check any balance sheet manufacturing which you are talking. We never get this kind of margin in production. Because 75% margin is a huge, because they have no R&D cost, so it is very cheaper for them. And because of market competition, when everybody starts manufacturing the same product and same medicine, same drugs, I need to reduce the drug prices, because then there are suppliers will be huge, demand will remain as it is. So it's a law of equilibrium works there. Economics, simple law works there, demand and supply. The demand does not increase, demand remains constant, but the supply becomes more. The more and more people comes into the system. So therefore we can always have to reduce the price. And then improved access for price sensitive population. Some people want a lower price, so your access gets more. Public health outcome becomes better, because anything which has been patent medicine for 20 years and worked very well for public, and when it comes to general public, everybody will start taking that without taking a doubt. Now they have a brand which is Refim, which is a strategic repositioning post patent. It is antibiotic of treating TBS. This is going to get end. Now they need to think how to ensure repositioning post patent this period. Their patent is expiry approaching, and they already anticipated huge competitors already getting geared for generic alternatives. Now company is exploring re-evaluating the pricing strategy, because see, when you are into monopoly, you can price anything what you want. But when you come into duopoly or different, where the number of suppliers are huge, you need to follow the market system. When you are in a monopoly, you are the market. you can do whatever you want to do. But when you are into duopoly, you need to follow the network market. So if you remember, how does happen when how does happen uh, when when mobile phones started initially, they were charging 32 rupees for making one call and 16 rupees for receiving a call. At that time, even the recipient need to also always pay. So both sides used to pay, the caller and the recipient, because they were the only monopoly and people were taking that. Today, do you think somebody can survive on charging on incoming? In fact, outgoing is almost free if you talk. We compare that period to day period because computers have come huge, alternative has come, so that need to be understood. And that's why you see now, do they sell calling plan or they sell data plan? Now they sell data plan because they understand that now people will buy more data than calling, because calling can be done on WhatsApp or Zoom or any other method. So you need to understand the market scenario, that how repricing needs to be done. They analyze that if I decrease every 4 rupees in a price, my demand increased by 8,000 batches. So in medicines, you sell by batches. Maximum demand can reach up to 1 million batches. That's the maximum they can reach. So how much I need to reduce, that I need to see. Their costing is generally one. If you talk of salt, they make, so they use the word salt. Salt is a chemical. So this is for API. This is for formulation. They mix both the salts and then the medicine comes. So if you take, for example, how much salt it takes 30 rupees, 120 rupees, almost 150, 151, and 150 per batch. So this is per gram and this is per batch. It takes approximately this cost to manufacture per batch. Their focus is to optimize price to maximize contribution. They can reduce the price to such an extent that contribution can exceed better. Ensure demand growth between unit and profitability. Growth versus unit profitability is important. Just by the logic that by reducing 4 rupees, I can get a 8,000 rupees increased batch does not mean I can go and sell till at 4 rupees. I cannot give such discount to grow so low. So I need to understand how much I can make balance between growth and unit profitability. I need to consider economies of scale post patent, that I need to keep in mind. So they have direct material, that cost we discussed. Machine time is generally 30 minutes, and at 40 rupees is an hour costing machine time. 20 rupees is machine time. Labor is 38.60. Fixed overheads are 35 rupees based on 300,000 batches. Now there is a new viral disease expected in 2023. It's coming. So work shift to high impact antiviral drug. So existing workforce need to be shifted to making another drug. So this reform labor, they decide to fully outsource because new patented drug life saving potential is coming in. So they want to take that benefit and try to move into this direction. Reform positioning must not divert port resources. So they're only diverting labor resources. Other things will remain in the organization, that will try to be kept. Now they need to consider the pricing decision on per batch basis. We need to ensure price competition, need to ensure labor dependency, because when you are dependent on labor, what impact does it makes? Overall contribution margin versus strategic resource allocation, how much it makes difference. Project overview, they received a government grant for 80 crore rupees for R&D of a low cost CN machine, CN vaccine. Existing CN vaccine are high cost and limited accessibility. So the government gave a low cost to ask them to produce a low cost CN vaccine and therefore 80 crore is given for R&D. This project aligns with national public health priorities because wherever the diseases are heavy, the government subsidize it for the benefit of all. Suraj Pharma must develop a cost-reduced manufacturing process. Target is reduce 40% in cost and in 2 years. So the grand condition is you need to develop a pricing low, and in 2 years you need to get it complete. Suraj Pharma reputation in affordable medicine is reinforced. They can easily work on this. They have opportunity to lead in vaccine innovation, and it will have a social impact. They now realized on supply chain model. So they supply. So normally, what happens in a making, you need to have lot of components. So Suraj Pharma supplies a drug in drug intermediate to its own formulation unit in another state. The intermediate is unique to the company. No external market exists for this intermediate in India. No comparable substitutes, like no goods of like kind of quality. Now, example what we are trying to understand is, let's say I am trying to sell. So let's say I make a product. In this product, there are ingredient A, B, C. A is manufactured by me. I have another unit which manufacture B. B will be only made when A is supplied to B. Now, in India, there is no other company in India who can manufacture A. They don't have the patent, and nobody has a usage of A. If I don't make it for B, nobody else will be able to use this because it is of no use to anybody because there is no external market exists for this. Now, when I'm doing this, how much GST I should charge? Because the intermediate which I'm selling, it gets converted into finished formulation internally. So they make it a finished formulation, and then that company sells the finished product. So this way you ensure that quality is controlled because it's my supply chain management. Your formulation and compliance are in control. Your logistic and distribution are in control when you have this entire cycle. This helps in avoiding dependency on external suppliers. It reduces quality risk and supply chain risk, which is the biggest risk. Supports transfer pricing, governance, and traceability because I can show that from group A to group B, how much I transferred to unit A to unit B, or it's a branch transfer or any other transfer. Now we need to understand the GST impact on this shortly. We'll understand GST impact, how much it should be charged. Now they also want to demerge certain units. So in a merger, what happens? I consolidate in a merger. So in a merger, what I will do, I will take 2, 3 companies and merge it into one. That is a merger. In a demerger, I make my balance sheet light. So say for example, if you take example of ITC. So as of today, ITC is into a hotel industry, ITC into a cigarette industry, ITC is into a FMCG. They manufacture foods also, right? So when they are into they are into in such form. In that scenario, if I really want to make my business light, I can make one separate company, or I can ask my division to move out. Okay. So, so they wanted to demerge certain units. So they filed a patent with NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, and they filed a patent that they want to demerge specified investment undertakings. They want to transfer it to their two overseas subsidiaries. So they have two overseas subsidiaries whom they want to transfer. These are wholly owned direct and indirect by the same son Suraj Pharma. So the Suraj Pharma wanted to get it diverse demerged to two foreign entities. NCLT rejected their petition. NCLT said this petition is not permitted. Tribunal did not sanction the proposed scheme. So your it is remains in the Suraj Pharma only. Now, strategy and legal implications, it reflects regulatory scrutiny on cross-border restructuring. Make sure that compliance with Indian corporate norms are thoroughly reviewed. It lead to they might go for alternative restructuring strategies. So if the government has stopped transfer to a foreign entity, they might do something in a local entity to make them light. Now they got also in acquisition mode. So this was of merger mode, demerger mode. Now they got into acquisition mode. They found a company, Hindu Pharma Limited. It has in-house R&D since inception. So this company is into purely into research and development. They recently obtained patents over certain drugs. So they got IPRs. They got a regulatory approved production plant. So they have a patent. They got a plant. However, they have not capitalized any revenue yet. Commercially, they have not made any money and they do not have any customer contracts also with them. So it's not like some Lupin Pharma or some Glen Pharma would have come to them and say, okay, you manufactured it for us. There's no such contracts there. They also acquired a company, Biraj Life Sciences, which has incurred significant research and development costs for two new drugs. Drug 1, regulatory approval obtained recently, where they received the approval. Drug 2, awaiting approval expected within 2 years. So in 2 years, they might get approval. Revenue potential was a key acquisition driver. The reason to acquire this was they understand that one patent got recently approval, so revenue can start kicking in. And second, they expect to get in 2 years. So which is a very optimistic position for any M&A acquisition for a manufacturing company, a medicine company. The rationale for acquisition was the more acquisition you do, it enhance your intellectual property portfolio. The valuation of the company goes significantly very high. Access to regulatory ready assets. It positions Suraj Pharma for future product launches because if I have multiple molecules, multiple grants, multiple patents, it will be very easy for me to sell. Expands R&D capabilities and diversifies pipeline. Focus area post acquisition would be integration of research and development teams and IP management, start commercialization of approved drugs, acceleration of regulatory submissions. Once you have a capability of valuing and experimenting and getting regulatory approvals, you can push other regulatory applications also fast because you know how the process works now because they have recently taken it. Unlocking long-term revenue generating opportunities because if you get an approval patent recently, 10 7 10 years, it will be a cash cow. Whether you work or not work, your patent will work for you. So you will be easily sitting and getting money on that. Now they have one subsidiary, MKS Limited UK, where Suraj Pharma would have supplied materials, where Suraj Pharma had supplied materials, medicines to them, and MKS had to repay 14 crore rupees to Suraj Pharma. But it has been outstanding and they have not been paid. MKS works in UK and that is the calendar year cycle they follow. So they follow January to December. In India, we follow generally April to March. That's the cycle we follow for financial years reporting. The management identified a non-compliance with FEMA regulations. According to them, since money has not come in within 9 months, especially from a foreign company, it need to be re-looked into it, and it's a FEMA non-compliance. Management expects no penalty for this delay, but they expect that if there is a penalty, it would be substantial on Suraj Pharma. Auditors took the help of an expert and concurred with the management position that if penalty do comes, because normally the government can leave you on a first offense, they can easily ignore you. But if the penalty comes, it would be a substantial penalty. MK's financials were not consolidated. Suraj Pharma financials are getting prepared. MK's financials are not getting consolidated because the management gave an option. The reason that their financial year ends on 31st December. So there is a gap between what is India books and what is UK books. So we will show a regulatory disclosure in the notes that since it is 3 months gap, so we have not consolidating it that way. With the consolidation, I'm sure now we all know this word consolidation of foreign subsidiaries after the Rajesh Mehta's issue happened where 15 lakh crore accounting consolidation has come in. So here this consolidation approach same is supposed to be done, but the management was of the view that since there's a time gap between 3 months, so we will just give a disclosure and no need to consolidate. So is it compulsory for me to consolidate or I can ignore consolidation where I have a gap of 3 months? What should I do? It is my 100% subsidiary. Can I give a simply note disclosure? Will that be a logical view to conclude this? I'll give a disclosure due to timing difference. We don't fit, we don't compare apple to oranges. So I'm not going to disclose this. It will give a misleading picture. So that's why I'm giving a note. Will that serve? We can discuss on that. On consultation, we need to understand data and solve the FEMA issue. That means how you address the FEMA issue. Just evaluate future need for interim financial statements for consolidation. That how should I take it? Maintain transparency and audit trail for intercompany balances because they have intercompany balances. So it has to be intercompany balances should be there. Now let us take certain questions, which whatever little we have understood till now. How should I value the supply of intermediate drug under the GST law? Any quick thoughts? Under the GST law, how should I value, how can I value the intermediate drugs which cannot be used by anyone? Any quick thoughts? If anybody like to speak, they can unmute and speak also. How do you think at what price the regulator will put? Because I need to value according to the CGST rules. As per the GST rules, you need to do valuation. There is no open market value for the drug, and there are no comparable goods. See, had I be selling a product whose comparable goods are there, it is there, then it can be done. Since the supply is made to a distinct person, they need to get it valued. So what does the rule says? So there is a rule 30 of CGST. What does it says? That value of supply of intermediate drugs has to be determined as per the law. And the law says it should be 110% of cost of manufacturing that drug. So let's say I take an example, I incur the cost 100 rupees. 100 is the cost I'm incurring for manufacturing of this intermediate drugs. So when I'm transferring, it will be considered as 110 because it will be assumed that 10% is the margin I need to charge off. However, if the purchasing entity is eligible for full credit of IT credit, full credit they can take, full ITC they can take, then whatever value the supplier is putting, that will be considered as a taxable supply. So this need to be understood when we are doing a GST transaction, because GST becomes very complicated at times in these kind of transactions. Any reason why demerger scheme would have been rejected? Why demerger scheme would have been rejected by NCLT when he wanted to transfer the units to a foreign entity? Even though, even though these foreign entities are indirectly wholly owned by Suraj Pharma, even though the demerger has been cancelled or not approved by NCLT. What could be the logical reason for that? Logically, what could be the reason? Logically. And the reason is because it's a in the law, the word written is merger or amalgamation is permitted. Merger or amalgamation. The word demerger permission is not there for a foreign overseas entities. So you cannot demerge any unit to a foreign entity because the law do not permit that. The research and development of the drugs of the two companies, shall it be recognized in the books of Suraj Pharma as intangible assets? So the Suraj Pharma is acquiring, we discussed two companies, right? In one company, he has already the research. So shall we recognize, not recognize? What is your view? In one company, we got the approval. In second company, we'll be also getting approval. So shall we recognize? So what does the Index says? Index 38 says on intangible assets. Index 38 says whenever there is a research cost incurred under R&D projects, it can never be capitalized. So whatever research you have done, whatever costing you're doing on research, it will be charged to P&L because it is a research not yet confirmed packet, confirmed sure that it will be gone into development. Therefore, whatever we are doing for research goes into chargeability P&L. After that, it depends whether you are successful, then your expenses are capitalized. But understand a very important point, a very important point. If so, if I did any expenditure and during the year it get over and I'm not able to make it clear, and after that next year I'm able to make that research permanent clear as a development, I will not get the benefit of I will not get the benefit of adding them back into the balance sheet. Whatever has gone into P&L will go into the P&L. So in this case also, they will get the only capitalization of those items which are going to get approved. Now, what do you think could be the MCQ answer for this? Given Suraj Pharma strategic positioning and recent developments, which of the following requirement best describe the role of patent protection in gaining and maintaining competitive advantage in pharma industry? Which one you think fits the best answer? All may be right. One would be absolutely better right than all. All may be right. All may look clear, but then we have a different things. Just a second. So here it will be which answer you think options you think make sense to you. Then it will be option B, where it mentions that it will allow pharmaceutical companies to exclusively capture the benefits from their investment in new drug for several years. And therefore, this option becomes a relevant option. How do you think Suraj Pharma can account for the government grant received for 2 years, assuming there is a reasonable assurance that they will be able to meet stipulated conditions? Then how do you think I should recognize the grant? Any view? What could be the best way to recognize the grant as per India's 20 government grants? What is the best way to recognize upfront, or I should apportion over the period, or only on the end, on the actual happening of the event? What do you think? Because reasonable assurance can be just assurance, or I should only recognize when actually things get completed. What do you think? Any thoughts? So what does the standard says? India's 20 government grants, what does it says? It says, can I recognize in upfront when I know that I will meet the conditions for sure? Can I make it as income, or I need to, then what is the best way I should do it, Smriti? If I can't do this upfront, then I can go for, because if there's, because the question is saying you have you have uh, you have a you have a you have a probability of achieving it. Therefore, So because you have a probability of achieving it, therefore, uh, therefore it is a sensible is you need to apportion over 2 years, and then we will be going for amortizing 40 crores each. That's a logical way to conclude that. Now, this is a very technical question to understand in India's 103. Although India's 103 is very technical, although this question becomes a little bit technical. Now, when I'm acquiring Indu Pharma, a company who has got patents approved, who has a plant ready, but it has no revenue, no customers. So can we call this as a business acquisition, or it will go under asset acquisition? What do you think I will be doing that? What do you think I'll be doing that? So can we say that it is not a, can we say it is a asset purchase or business purchase? What do you think? It is a, can we say it is a business purchase? It will be a business purchase. Now, any idea why it is a business purchase where we have just not have any revenue, no customers? Why do you think that can be a business purchase? Because I don't have any contract with customers, so there is no revenue surety. So what does India's 103 says? When you are buying any group of assets, even forget the company, here they have bought the company, forget you are buying the company. Even if you are buying a group of assets, that constitutes input and process, that will be called as a business acquisition, because due to input and process we can due to input and process we can start the business. Here he got the license, he got the license, he got the patents, he also have a machine ready for approval. Therefore, the moment they want, they can start the business. So output will not be a challenge because your input and process is ready, and that is validated. So they can easily do this. India's 103 becomes very, very challenging at times because you need to understand you are buying an asset or business. I'll give a small example. Uh, so in a toll companies, if I take the license of Jaipur to Noida toll, Jaipur to Delhi highway, I have a right to collect the tolls, right? Government does not sell me the road. What does the government sells me? The government says I have a right to collect toll those who are traveling from Jaipur to Delhi or Delhi to Jaipur. I will give you right to collect toll on people passing on this road. The government is not selling me the road. Now, I have this right. Now, when I sell this right to you, will it be a asset acquisition or a business acquisition? So, when I am conferring this right to you, so I purchase it from the government and now I am selling this to you. Is it a asset or a business? Because in intangible, there is only one right, right to collect tolls. In real life, what is this? Is it a asset or it is a whole together business in itself? So even if when you are buying one asset, even if when you are buying one asset, it is entire business altogether. Entire business altogether. I'll give you one more example on this to understand more in detail. Uh, so when you buy so when you buy any item on Amazon, Flipkart, or any e-commerce portal, what are the first few things you mandatory look into before you make the buying decision? First few things. You see the features. I thought you will say I'll see the discount. So features. So we always look for the feature first. Discount we always see in the last because I will only look for discount when I don't want to when I want to buy anything. But when I want to buy a specific thing, I will see discount later. So I will look into the features. Okay. Apart from the features, what else you see? Okay. Uh, do you bother who is selling it, or you are least bothered who is selling it? A is selling or B is selling. You don't know the seller, right? Or you know the seller. You don't know the shopkeeper, right? You only see a product and you know it is coming on Amazon or Flipkart. You're least bothered whether the real seller is me, A, B, C, D, E. It is immaterial to you. Agree? To some extent, correct? And we are talking only of e-commerce platform as of now. Okay. Yes or no, Smriti? Smriti? Correct. And the answer is no. You are very choosy in seeing who is selling. And how do you see that? Do you look into the customer reviews? Will you look in a customer review, customer ratings? What are the customer feedback on my product? Customer gives me what kind of rating? Take example when you order food on Zomato and Swiggy. Do you have you honestly tell me, I am selling a food at 80% discount, but my rating is 3.5. Will you ever buy from me? Or only, and I'm talking about Zomato Swiggy, you will only buy 4 and above. Generally, 4.5, 4.9. Will that play a role? That plays a crucial role, right? So now, so now in e-commerce portal, I don't know the company. I only see a product with a reviews. So one company, one businessman is buying one account of Amazon. So there is one account in Amazon that buys and sells some products. It has best customer ratings, and he is buying that account only due to the ratings. He will sell his products. He is not buying any product from him. He's just saying, you buy, give me this account. Now, can we say this is a business acquisition? It can be a business acquisition because people are all buying only on this portal, only on this reviews, because customer reviews plays a very, very important role. So, again, the example of just take the balance sheet of Adani, take the balance sheet of Adani in 2019. So in Mumbai, Reliance Power used to collect electricity bills from Santa Cruz to Borivali. They have the license to collect electricity bills because they went into bankruptcy. So the Reliance sold this license to Adani. It was only one intangible license given to Adani. Because it was only one license and that license made entire business, so therefore it was treated as a business acquisition, not as a asset acquisition. So here it will be considered as a business acquisition because company has all resources to start manufacturing. The auditors was of the view that the auditor was of the view that whatever non-compliance of FEMA have done, we need to put into the notes to accounts. Though there is no penalty came in, but we just need to give disclosure. Will that be fine? Or I need to put an impact that something may happen. So put a qualification or you put a provision or a disclosure would be sensible. So here where the law is not clear, where the law is gray or law is not giving me the fixed penalties, I will be more than fine in giving a disclosure. But where the law gives me a penalty, so if I do not pay income tax and there is a penalty of paying 24% interest every year, that interest I need to book because that's a mandatory law. It's not at the option of the officer. In FEMA, many places it is the option of the officer to put a penalty or not put a penalty. Many times RBI is so kind at times where you go and tell them that we made a mistake and it was unintentional mistake and we don't intend, we don't know the law. Please apologize us and excuse us, and they will give you a free way to go ahead without any issues. Some places they become very difficult to deal with. What would be the view where the auditors, where the management did not consolidate MKS financials, considering that it was of December and we are having March financials, so it is not good to do that. What is the logic behind this? So it's a right approach, wrong approach. What do you think? Any idea? Okay, okay, okay. I got it. Yeah, because the chat box I was open, that's why it is showing black box. Got it, got it. I'll reduce that. Just okay, just a second. So is it compulsory for me to consolidate, or I can skip saying that our financial years are not matching, so we can do that? Or Ind AS 110 consolidation it gives me any opportunity? It gives me an opportunity. So in this case, here in this case, they did not did right thing. It has to be consolidated, and I need to qualify the report. It is not only emphasis of matter; it is a qualification. So, just we know what is the latest development happening on consolidation. We all know where stat auditors have seen the consolidation and it was unaudited subsidiaries. So they have given a emphasis of matter that unaudited subsidiaries are not audited by us. They have given that disclaimer. That's a statement they give. Here, it is not consolidated itself, so it cannot be emphasis of matter or a disclosure. It is a strong qualification because of non-compliance of Companies Act regulation and also non-compliance of Ind AS 110. Because Ind AS 110 mandates it has to be a qualification, it has to be consolidation mandatory. And in fact, let's say I have a subsidiary on I buy a subsidiary on uh, 1st of January, and on 30th of March I sold that subsidiary. It remains 3 months to me. Do I need to make a consolidation even though it is not in my balance sheet at the year end, or I can skip? Assuming it is not a temporary holding, it is not an investment vehicle. If it is a normal company, I mandatory need to make the I mandatory need to make it compulsory. I need to make it a consolidation. Even though at the year end the balance sheet investment is not aligned, you need to make it mandatory. And if you're not making it, then qualification is the only thing you need to do it mandatory. Now let me take you to some numbers to get you an idea. Since understanding of little bit understanding uh, we got little bit understanding of generic and pharma. Now, any vague idea how much is the pricing difference between generic and branded? Any idea? How much pricing could be? Uh, price PPT I can share you. Maybe I'm just sharing. Can I share on Zoom? I'm not sure. I can share on Zoom or not. But I can drop you. You can drop me email. I can drop you that. That's not an issue. I'm trying to see, but Zoom does not allow me to send. Any other platform I can share. I can email you. That's fine. I'll just drop you an email. I'll just drop you an email. Before that, just first let me know this number. How much difference you think would be in a branded medicine and a generic medicine? How much do you think could be? What number you think could be? 10%, 20%? What could be the range you think it may go? Any ranges you think? Just a second. Let me check that. I want to just show you that range. Just give me a minute. Just give me 1 minute to connect because of internet. It got disconnected. Just give me. Now you'll be so Smriti. Any range you can think of? How much would be the range difference between generic and branded medicine? A range, a broad range. I don't want an exact number, but just a thought process wise, how much you think could be a difference between when I buy a branded medicine or I buy a generic medicine? What could be the range of gap? Any pricing thought on this? So if I go and buy iPhone and buy uh, Oppo or Home Honor or Viva brand, what could be the gap? So let me demonstrate you. The numbers look astonishing. Just give me a minute. Just is this visible? Where you can see not yet. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, not visible. Okay. If you can see the typical pricing difference, see the typical pricing difference is coming 30 to 80%. Now see the most important, see the last two points. Cardiac medicines and cancer drugs. 40 to 90% and 50 to 95%. Talk in a generic medicine. That's a kind of difference we are talking. But again, let me re-ask the same question. When I'm buying for a family, will I go for a generic or branded? Despite knowing the difference is huge, significant, and why is and I'm sure you all know the answer what I will be doing. And see, because these are life life-saving medicines or life uh, threat of life. So these are critical illness. It's not a headache or not a stomach ache. In a headache, stomach ache, I can still take a chance. I can still take, okay, headache, take this vaccine. आज ठीक नहीं होगा. Tomorrow I'll get a better vaccine. I can do that. But when it talks about cardiac, stunts, angiography, cancer drugs, chemotherapy treatments, I will not like to take any chance. Nobody will like to take a chance saying that, oh, because then you will always live with a regret. Oh, Gosh, I would have spent a better money, taken a better version, better brand. I might have got the best facility. So that's the psychological warfare that always works on. So that's the pricing difference normally. And the common medicines difference, you can see how much it takes. Uh, Average is a medicine. You can see the price. Telmistran, 20 rupees, it goes up to 180 branded. And we understand why it is cheaper because of no R&D and other things. And the most important things now, which has been reduced a lot these days. These days it has reduced a lot. In olden times, it was one of the big things, and that was every pharma company used to spend a lot on medical doctors. They used to give them exorbitant gifts for foreign holidays, family trips, just to promote their medicines. Now it has been reduced a lot to many extent that is happening. Now, if you see the question, does generic medicines work equally well? In principle, yes, because medicine will remain work the same way. It is only the placebo effect. If you feel that you have taken the best medicine, you will yourself body will start reacting that you are better. But if you doubt the medicine, your body will not react it. Now I'll give you an example of patents time. How much time it takes to patent? If you see, it is it is generally 8 to 12 years to get patents approved. So you file patent in year zero. Clinical trials take 8 to 12 years. That's the minimum period for getting your research approved in a first time life cycle drug. See, because this drug somebody will consume in the body. So we cannot do a trial and error. कि let us try, बच गया तो बच गया, नहीं गया तो नहीं बचा. So that cannot work with life. You cannot play with life. Therefore, it is rigorous testing, and it takes 8 to 12 years. And then once you get approval, it takes 1 to 2 years from the government department to get it approved. So you get total 20 years for filing, and only remaining period is 7 to 10 years generally. Okay. In real life, it is generally 10 years real life, but that's a issue. Okay. So globally and India also, because globally also it is 20 years, India also we take it 20 years. And you see what happens when patent expires. See this price reduces by 50 to 90%. That kind of the reduction comes in because innovator market shares decline significantly. Now everybody can come in, and this happens every time. Whenever a new brand is coming, whenever whenever any expiry is happening, we will do that. And so patent life is very, very important that we discuss. And how to take a drug that we discuss about trials. Remember we talked about how does it happens on a trial. So if I start drug discovery and screening, it will take 2 to 5 years. Once I complete that, I will first do a preclinical testing on animals and labs that we do, which will take 1 to 2 years. After we finish that, then I go to phase one, which will take 1 year, then phase two, then phase three. All this will be on a clinical, on a human cycles, on human persons, on a group of people. So it takes 10 to 15 years to make a drug. So this is generally it happens. Formulation. So first we work on API, then formulation development. For a generic medicine, it is very easy. For a generic, because why it is very easy for a generic? Because already the API of that medicine is already public after that in public domain. Already it has been tested. Then you just need to show the capability that you can manufacture those magazines, that medicines. Then it will be very easy for somebody to get it done. Okay. This is all what we understood, just talked about. Just a second. I'm just trying to see if I missed anything on this. As I mentioned, India is Sun Pharma is the largest share in India. If we talk of Sun Pharma in India, who is into pharma shares, Sun Pharma is the highest. It has large generic markets. And I talked about India. India is the highest in terms of the globe. It is called as a, they call it India as a pharmacy of the world. So that's the tagline they have given because it contributes majority of the population. So over 20% of the global generic drug is given by India. And that's why we call it pharmacy of the world, because the kind of capacity we have of production capacity we have. So you go to South, you go to Gujarat, Vapi, it would be huge. Okay. Deepak ji has joined by any chance?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Only I come to take the points.
oh, okay. Thank you, sir. And your clear and practical explanation of the case study helped students how pharma companies work from R&D to pricing, patents, and government regulations. You showed how important it is to look at every business decision from a financial, legal, and strategic point of view. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us time today, sir.
Thank you,
No,
sir.
no, no.
Thank you for your
Sir,
inviting. Thank you. You can take, sir.
yes, thank you, sir. Now, students, please go ahead and raise your query. If you have any questions, please ask now. Sir, if you want to leave, you may leave, sir. Students, now I am guiding you about strategic approach to handle the IBS case studies from examination perspective. Okay. The first important step in approaching an IBS case study is to scan the entire case study in one go. First of all, you have to scan the case studies. Okay. The initial reading helps you to determine whether you are able to handle the concepts being tested. There may be n number of concepts, but some of the concepts are familiar to you. Therefore, this is very important step. Selection of case study is very important step in examination. Remember, you have to select 4 out of 5 case studies. So, identifying the right case study is very important. While scanning, go through both MCQs as well as descriptive requirements. Sometimes students ignore MCQs portion. They focus on descriptive portion only, but both are equally important if you want to score in this paper. Therefore, first step is scan entire case study and go to requirement part initially. After this, select the case study you are most confident. Okay, now start reading requirement part very carefully. This will help you understand which specific portion the examiner wants you to address. The focus could be on strategic model, relevant India's application, corporate governance, or taxation issues. For example, if a question asks you to assess competitive environment, this clearly signals the application of Porter's five forces model. Okay, it means you have to apply Porter's five forces. Now, start by sketching five forces on your left hand side of your answer sheet. It means note down all five forces on your answer sheet. Then, as you read the case study in detail, identify all relevant key points corresponding to each force. For instance, if case mentions there are limited number of suppliers, this clearly indicates there is high bargaining power of buyers. If scenario says there are many competitors in fragmented market, this suggests high competitive rivalry. Note it down. Okay. Make your notes under each force. You have to make your notes directly under each force. It will connect your solution with the requirement of the case studies in a better manner. Students, please note that most relevant points are often concentrated in one or two paragraphs in case studies, which makes correlation is very easier for you. Similarly, for other descriptive questions, please underline key information, highlight key figures, and draw sketches wherever it is required. This initial work will make it very easier for you to write your final answer in a qualitative manner. It will give you proper control on solution. Now, the question arises, how much I have to write in examination? Students, here I am taking a dummy example. Suppose, so that you can easily understand how much you have to write. Suppose a question is having worth of 12 marks. Although in IBS examination, uh, examiner ask around 5 marks, 6 marks or 7 marks question only, but I am taking 12 marks to make you clearly understandable how much we have to write. Okay, suppose the question says to assess competitive environment and the question is having worth of 12 marks. It means you have to apply Potter's five forces. It means you have to write total five forces. Divide total 12 marks in five forces. It means equal to 2.4 marks for each force. It means you have to write 2 or 3 points in every force. And finally, Finish your answer with conclusion. In every strategic management or every strategic cost management or performance management question, please finish your answer with proper conclusion, because the conclusion part is always have some marks. Okay, now students, please note that marks are awarded for application and conceptual understanding, not for memorization. If question says you to assess competitive environment, then you have to assess through proper correlating with scenario. If you simply write five forces, in this case you won't get any mark. Therefore, application of concept is very important. If there are large number of buyers, it means bargaining power of the buyers will be high. If there are limited number of suppliers, it means bargaining power of suppliers will be high. You have to apply forces. Okay. Therefore, application of concept is very important. And same principle also applies in other subject also. Now, students, it is important to understand that open book resources are helpful only if you have conceptual clarity. Without it, you may struggle to locate the correct solution in module, or it will be very difficult to find relevant page, or if you apply the concept correctly, but finally you will end up with wasting of your time. Blindly searching through the module waste your time and may affect your performance in other questions. This is the one reason students fail to complete the exam on time. Even the paper is balanced and standard always. Therefore, students, it is very important to know how to use open book resources. Use of open book resources doesn't mean to simply hunting of answer from your module. You can apply the resources only when you have good conceptual clarity. Otherwise, you will finish with wasting of your time. Even you won't be able to complete your question paper. Sometimes students worry about handling group 1 subjects while making for group 2. Here is one important strategy. Select one or two subjects from group 1. For example, I personally suggest focus on FR because it is not only highly relevant for IBS case studies but also supports your professional career in the long term. Change your mindset. Making subject like FR will not only help you to clear this exam but also it will help you when you will face the interviews when you become chartered accountant. Therefore, students, please change your mindset. In IBS, many questions involve analysis and interpreting of financial statements, linking of accounting treatment with strategy, or analyzing corporate disclosures. All areas where FR knowledge is very important. Although you uh, may focus on other subjects also, okay, but at the same time you must have at least basic understanding of other subjects also. You may select one or two subjects for deep understanding, but at the same times you have to touch other subjects also. I am not saying to ignore any subject, but focus on few subjects. You must have proper control. Additionally, reviewing previous examination question paper helps you to understand the trend. Question related to AFM or foreign exchange from AFM and foreign exchange chapter are regularly asked in examination because nowadays all companies are having international operations. This question can be connected easily with any case study. Students, please think from this perspective. This is very important. How the case study is being integrated. How you have to take decisions in a holistic manner. While selective study is not recommended at all, whether it is for subject or it is whether it is for topic, but awareness of such trend is very helpful for you while making your strategy for this paper. Now, students, you may carry any material of your choice, but the core resource should reflect your preparations. You may create index, mind maps, flow charts, but ultimate mind ultimate resource is your mind, your conceptual understanding. If you have good conceptual understanding, only then you can use the open book resources in a best manner. I am repeating again. If you have good conceptual understanding, only then you can use open book resources in a best manner. Otherwise, you will finish with ending up of your time without completing the paper. Therefore, students, a successful strategy to clear this IBS paper with good marks is number one, scan the case to assess comfortable level. Number 2, understanding the requirements. Number 3, sketch making or making notes, underline the key concepts. Number 4, applying framework. It may be Porter's 5 forces or India's 38 or any other section or rule regulation or of any other area. After this, integrate the concepts. Or and the next point is writing answer proportionate to marks. It is very important. Sometimes we write 2 pages, 3 pages for 12 marks question, but this won't give you proper marks. You have to proper bifurcate or allocate marks to each section. This is very important. And use open book resources wisely, relying primarily on your mind, your conceptual understanding. Students, by following this approach, you can handle IBS case study confidently, efficiently, and successfully, ensuring both accuracy and application based answers. Students, if you have any other query, you may ask. Otherwise, I am winding up this session. Once again, a big thank you to Sumit sir and to all the students. Thank you for being part of today's session and asking such wonderful questions. Your participation made the session even better. I encourage all of you to keep practicing and how to connect different subject just like we did today. That's what the IBS paper is all about. Wishing you all the best for your studies and your exam. Once again, thank you everyone for making this session a success. Thank you everyone. Thank you, sir. Now session is over.